Hi, welcome to part 3 of this 13-mark question. In the very first two videos, we looked at parts A and B for the first video, and then C for the second video, where we were able to locate the 2 points where the linear graph crossed the quadratic. Yes. So we were able to then work out that these two graphs, the y equals 7 at 4x and the straight line y equals 4 minus x, did meet at x equals -1/2 and then x equals 3. Now, something special is happening in part D of this question, which is what this video is going to focus on. We are meant to work out the finite region bounded by the curve C and the straight line when they're rotated through 60 degrees about the x-axis. Now, what you should note is, since both the curve and the line are rotating, whatever happens to the curve would also be happening to the straight line. And we do recall that that will give us a 3D shape, okay? Hence the need to work out the volume. So the volume of rotation is giving us the integral of pi times the y squared. And the limits of that integral will be the x-axis, the point on the x-axis where the two graphs meet. So in this case, we're going from -1/2 to 3. Since both graphs will be rotating, it would mean that we would need to rotate the quadratic, which in this case is 7 at 4x minus 2x squared. Dx, don't forget our dx, and that should be equal to the straight line being rotated about the same section. So we have 4 minus x squared dx. So our task now will be to expand these squared brackets, okay? So we have to do this separately. So I'm going to try to do that here. So if I have 7 add 4x minus 2x squared all squared, very carefully multiplying through by 7 to start with, I should be getting 49 add 28x minus 14x squared. The next line, I'm going to take the 4x and then multiply through the same thing. So that should give me 28x add 16x squared minus 8x cubed. Next, I will take the -2x squared and multiply through the same way. So what would I get? I will be getting minus 14x squared minus 8x cubed, and then a 4x to the power 4. Now, if I try to simplify the left-hand side, that should give me then 49 add 56x minus 12x squared minus 16x cubed add 4x to the power 4. Again, you would like to try this yourself on the side. I will encourage that. You see, I try to write these things out just so that you can see that there's a pattern forming, making the addition quite straightforward. I'll do the same thing to the right hand side, expanding 4 minus x all squared. That's fairly straightforward. That should give us 16 minus 8x add x squared. Okay, so we having now arrived at both expanded forms of the bracket, we can now return to our integral equation there. So what we have now is we have the integral of pi going from -1/2 to 3 of 49 add 56 x minus 12 x squared minus 16 x cubed plus 4 x to the power 4, and that should be equal to the integral of the right hand side. Don't forget your pi, and in our bracket we have x squared minus 8x add 16 to the same limits of integral. Okay, now so at this stage we want to, don't forget your dx's. At this stage we want to make sure that we are able to rearrange the equation that we've got, so we've got everything equal to 0, so we can have just one big integral to work with. So if you rearrange both sides, then you should be arriving at, you can carefully do it on the side because that's not the main chunk of the, you should arrive at 33 add 64x minus 13x squared minus 16x cubed add 4x to the power 4 equal to 0. So we're going to now be integrating this, not forgetting our pi. Okay, so let's take off the 0 because in the end we wouldn't be needing that. Okay, all right, so what do we get when we integrate this one? You should be getting then your 33x add 64x squared over 2 minus 13x cubed over 3 minus 16x to the power 4 over 4 add 4x to the power 5 over 5 to the limits of -1/2 and 3. Now I will encourage you to take your time and substitute the limits separately. For this mark to be obtained in the exam, we want to see that you have indicated that you know the limits have to be substituted in the right order. So we want to see, for example, that you've written 33 times 3 add, let's simplify this, you have 32, and then our x3 squared minus 13 over 3, 3 cubed minus, let's do that, 4, 3 to the power 4, add 4/5 x to the power 5, and then subtract the lower limit, okay? And then you substitute the same way, okay? So we want to see that substitution being shown. And then you'd find the rest of the work will be for you to do that on your calculator, okay? So -1/2 squared, and then minus 13, we're running out of space, -1/2 cubed, minus 4, -1/2 to the power 4, add your 4/5 finally, half to the power 5, and close your square bracket. So now, please take your time to do that. And once you've done that, you should be getting, if you substitute all of that in your calculator, you should be obtaining, don't forget your pi's, you should be obtaining for the first bracket, this one, square bracket, you should be obtaining something in the region of 702 over 5. And then subtract pi, and then the right hand side should give you -247 over 30 pi. Okay, so that put together should give you 4459 over 30 pi as your answer, which in decimal form should be 466.94. Now I will encourage you to write down, if you can, everything your calculator's given you to at least 5 decimal places or more initially before you approximate it to whatever you've been given. Okay, so we have 467 as our volume, units cubed, depending on what unit we're working through. Now, as you can see, it's quite a lengthy question, hence 13 marks. Let me put units cubed. Whatever unit you've been given, you'll be cubing that. So pause the video at any point and make sure that you understand the principles. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop that in my inbox, and like my videos, please, so I can continue making more for you. All the best.